I want to get to the audience questions and see if anybody has any questions for you before we get to the healing. So
Okay.
we're going to turn, is Lazar back there or no? I don't think he is. I'm going to go turn the lights on. Does anyone have a question for Pat?
I have a question.
Yes. Hi.
Hello, Pat.
Hi.
My name's Patty as well.
Make love to the microphone. It's really quiet.
You said the children that are more open to spirit are coming in since 2012. Why is that?
There was a shift in the planet. We are changing. Things are changing. We're moving into a different dimension, and I know that's not, something you're all going to understand. It would take me way too long to explain it, but we are moving into a different dimension of consciousness. And the children, they used to call it a veil between worlds. That veil is gone. And that people are seeing things more and more and more now, every day, much more. Orbs that you would see on a camera, people are seeing in the physical now. It's very different. So the children, they're just wide open. And they're coming in with ADD and ADHD and OCD and ODD, all kinds of letters attached to their name. They are very sensitive to energy. And it's very hard for them because they don't understand what's going on. And until they learn to really cover themselves, to block themselves in some way, this is unfortunate.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Over here? Anybody? No? I thought I saw a few more hands. Okay, I'm going to the back.
I don't know how she can
I'm
see
coming.
anything.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, you mentioned quite a few things here that I needed to hear. And offer me your comment on something like someone with Down syndrome who, I experienced this about a year ago in a Wendy's, and I guess the young lady was wiping tables.
Yes.
Okay. She was wiping tables and things like that, and young, maybe late teens. And she was looking out the window, and I was the only customer there eating chili. And she was looking out the window, and this is in Palatine, Illinois. She was looking out the window, and she was mumbling something about the weather, right? And half an hour later, it started raining and pouring, and just out of nowhere. Now that caught my attention.
What's your question?
Do you feel that what you just said now, that there's a generation that's being born? Because I was hearing in 2009 that there are a lot of children who are almost having these intuitive things when they're born. And that was like 2009, 2010. And yet this individual was someone with Down syndrome who was almost, in my eyes, predicting something. But yet I feel that it was very intuitive, partly because maybe she was Down syndrome.
I'm sure that she was very open. It matters not whether there's Down syndrome or autism, Asperger's, especially those children, those special children are super open. Think about an autistic child. Everything to them is like nails on a chalkboard. Okay, everything. They're so super sensitive. And again, those hugging vests make a difference. They make them feel better, but again, the person who invented them didn't really know why. They just felt that it was a way to hug them, but it really was covering them up. So again, I happen to know many Down syndrome children, grown-ups, and they have tremendous intelligence.
And
There's
not
no
just
reason.
you said 2012, but like you're talking about.
Yeah, she's talking about 2009.
But my son was born 2006, and he's been able
It's
to
been
see
going
my
on
dad
forever.
since he was 2. So
Yeah,
my
this
dad
is,
died.
it's not new, it's
Yeah.
just, there's a shift, and the children are just coming in wide open. So you are seeing more kids labeled and medicated, unfortunately. That's the
I was
part,
just gonna ask
that's the
that.
part I want to stop.
So you want to stop the medicating because you think we're over medicating, and we're actually sort of, because it's a drive-through society. They want a pill for everything, and we don't understand it fully. So people are just getting diagnosed and here, take these pills, And then what's happening is we have to rewire the brains because certain sensors are getting knocked out. Are you seeing this in your work, and how are you helping these kids who are over-medicated?
Well, I have so many teachers that are students of mine, and they're the ones that come in and tell me that they're teaching kids that are like zombies, that everybody's medicated and they just kind of stare off into space, and it's ridiculous. I can't even believe the extent of it, especially in middle school and high school, because once they hit puberty, spirituality just goes haywire. And how am I helping them? Listen, I don't want any of them on medication. Now, you said before, I'm not opposed to medication. In this case, when it comes to anxiety and all these different things that are going on, these are special kids. They just need an education. So what I do is I educate the parents. The kids come, and if they're old enough to understand, I teach them how to put up boundaries. I don't need them open to spirit at their ages. I need them to close it down, but to understand and let them know they have power, that they have control. And I'm going to quickly tell you a story of my own granddaughter. My granddaughter sees dead people since she's 10 years old. And she's an innocent. I knew at 8 years old that it was coming because she started having anxiety, severe anxiety, and she was developing quickly as an 8.5-year-old. So puberty had already started to set in with her. It's coming much quicker now as well. And she saw my husband first at 10 years old. And since then, she's seen my husband. She sees him in 3D. She could tell me everything that he was wearing, right down to his slippers. Yeah, well, no, she screamed. She said no. She screamed and nobody heard her. She was in the bathroom. And he showed up. And he disappeared as soon as she screamed. I have seen him as well, even though I technically don't see people. I have seen my husband. And so she's seen her other grandmother now, her dog, who got hit by a car. The grandmother waters the flowers in the backyard. The dog is running around. My husband's at dinner every night. She's seen him at school. And her best friend's father, and a hitchhiker, a guy who showed up. Remember I mentioned that you pick up things? Well, he was in a room for 3 months. She refused to tell him to leave. And she has no fear. I taught her no fear. I said, you do not have to talk to anybody, just tell him to leave. And she wouldn't do it. So I said, listen, you picked him up. You picked him up in church. She's an altar server. I said, you either picked him up in church, you picked him up at lacrosse, you picked him up at school, you picked him up at soccer, but you brought him home. And he belongs to somebody that you know. So you either have to ask him, swear, you either have to ask him who he belongs to and what does he want, or you need to tell him to leave. She did not do it. So a month later I said, well, is he still here? And she said, well, you know what? I only see him late at night when my friends sleep over. It's okay. I said, you don't need to have him there. You can tell him to leave. So it took 3 months before she told him to leave. And when I saw her the last time, I don't even say her name anymore. I just look at her and say, well? And she said, well, he's gone. And I said, and why is that? She said, because I told him to leave. And I said, and he left. So I said, if you would have listened to me 3 months ago, you wouldn't have had a stranger standing in your room blocking your bathroom. So, you know, this is innocence. I have this, my grandniece is the same way. Her father died when she was 3 months old. She didn't know him. And on his birthday, he showed up and he was sitting on her bed. She freaked out and ran down the hallway. And of course, she calmed down once she realized it was her father. But now she also has a cousin who was Down syndrome, but she died at birth due to heart complications. And she saw her coming down the stairs. She told her mother, there's a little girl and she's got blonde hair and she's Down syndrome, and she just walked downstairs where I was. And she said, I felt like she was 11 years old, and she died 11 years before. She never knew her. She didn't know anything about her. So kids are so wide open. I have it all over my family, and it has nothing to do with me. It just is.
It runs in families, though, often.
Oh, there's a lot of them. I have a niece that I have not exposed yet because her husband doesn't know, and neither does her parents. So we're keeping her a well-hidden secret.
There's the reality show coming soon.
Oh, yeah.
Any other questions before we get to the, yep.
There's one up here, I think.
Okay, cool, we'll be down there.
Hi, Pat. Personal question. When's your birthday?
December 15th, 1949. 70 years old next month.
Excellent. Well, pre-happy birthday to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's from
I'm old.
Tom, the astrology guru, right over here. If anybody needs their chart done, now he's going to read you in the hallway, Pat, so that
I have a very cool
the
chart.
cat's out of the bag.
I do have a very cool chart.
Oh, I'm sure she has a cool chart.
Here we go.
I want to keep this spiritual, and but my question is, with the energetic changes going on in society, I don't know if it's the U.S. or the world or whatever, are there also some good spiritual or emotional changes related to the politics and the tumult that we're going through? Do you have any encouraging words about what this is all about?
Encouraging words. Okay. Well, listen. I truly, truly believe everything happens for a reason. We don't have to like it. There's a bigger picture that Spirit sees. Things have to be put into motion for certain reasons. Structures have to come down before they can be rebuilt. And I believe politically, I believe in this education system, I believe in the financial system that things are going to come down, be restructured, and rebuilt in a much better way. So if that helps, I send light to the politicians all the time.
I have lots of questions, but
Pick one.
can you talk a little bit more about the anxiety piece and like how to deal with it? Like I notice I work in healthcare, but sometimes when I'm driving to work, I used to think I'm on the evenings and it's all these crazy drivers, but I realize I'm tapping into my patients and other things, and I start getting really anxious. And also sometimes just even in a bigger room, I do better in the front because I'm in the back and I'm reading everyone and I get anxious. And as I'm evolving, it's getting a little bit worse. And I don't like it. Like and I feel like I know how to deal with it. I try to meditate, but
Well, what I had you all do before, the surround, ground, and shield, is going to help you tremendously if you do it every day. It's going to change. It will change, I promise. That's why I wrote the book. And the book itself is called The Gifts Beneath Your Anxiety. Simple spiritual tools to bring peace, awaken the power within, and heal your life. Surround, ground, and shield every morning before you interact with another human being. It will stop, and it will, first of all, people that work like that and work with patients and heavy things, and listen, even beauticians, every day they listen to people's garbage, every day. We all dump on the beautician. My beautician dumps on me. I don't dump on her. I'm there to help her, but this is what we do. There's so many people that interact one-on-one with people, and they take on their stuff. So you're absorbing the toxins of others, and it makes people tired and drained and anxious. But the anxiety is a little bit different, because the anxiety is usually spirit energy that's around you. Okay, so again, once you surround, all right, understand what each thing is for. The bubble is a force field. It keeps negative energy away from you and connects you to God and Spirit. The grounding is your balance, okay? Without the grounding, you are not in balance. So when you ground to Mother Earth and you connect to God through the bubble, you are creating balance, yin-yang, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual balance. When you put on the vest stops the anxiety. The vest filters the toxins of others. So you no longer have to absorb it. It doesn't stop your intuition from working. It stops you from absorbing the toxins. And once you stop absorbing them, your own body begins to heal. People with anxiety usually have digestive issues or autoimmune diseases. They kind of come with it. It's one or the other or both. And the vest stops that. So that's the best advice I could give you. And read my book, because it's got everything else in it.
Any other? Okay. Now you guys all come out of the woodwork. All right, couple more, and then we gotta get to the healing.
Hi, Pat.
Hi.
I'm wondering, you said when your soul makes a plan before comes here. Is suicide part of the plan, or is that a free will?
Okay, so listen, God gave us the gift of life. He gave us the gift of intuition. We don't have to open that gift in this lifetime. He gave us the gift of a guide to help us navigate that intuition, and the biggest gift he gave us was free will choice. So for suicides, and it's a great question, I discussed this yesterday with somebody. Now, suicides are using free will choice to take their life, but I want you to think about this for a second. Anyone that commits suicide, it takes a lot of courage to do that, all right? In my day, people called it cowardice. Absolutely not. It is a very difficult thing to do. And that means that person is so full of despair and so hopeless. It's actually viewed as mental illness when someone gets to that point. So that's how it's viewed on the other side. What happens with suicides is they have more work to do. The second that they take their life, the very second they recognize they made a mistake. And they're sorry. They're so terribly sorry for their family and their parents and anybody that they hurt, because they now feel their pain. So they get to do a little bit more work. They have to learn. They have more to grow, and it's all fine. I mean, we send suicides into the light all the time, because the unfortunate part is they are so sad by what they have done that they don't necessarily step into the light as quickly as they should. They feel kind of ashamed. And sometimes when the mediums are reading, they always stay in the back of the room, or they kind of peek around a corner and they don't come in. So I teach my students, I encourage them to bring those people, those children, those adults into the light, into the room, and let them know that they are forgiven. And I don't know if that answers your question, but that's what I know about suicides. And we send them, again, we always send them into the light, and it is a free will choice, for sure. It changes the contract a bit, but there's still reasons for it.
There are also, just so everybody knows, flyers outside, since Pat's not selling books tonight, but there's flyers, you can get it on Amazon. I highly recommend it to anybody who either knows somebody who has intuitive abilities, questions, anxiety, anybody who has children with anxiety, all the above. And then if you want to open your own tools and gifts, it's a fantastic read. It's perfect for anybody who's questing or dealing and coping. I knew I saw one more hand up. Yes, maybe? No? Okay, then I think we're good. Am I forgetting anybody down here? No? Okay. All right, Gazal, let's get to the meditation music. Pat is going to set this up. Is there anything else that we need to know or do, Pat, while we get this settled?
No, it's going to direct you. It's my voice, it's my meditation. He's going to bring it up and you're going to hear it. You will close your eyes. It's going to tell you to close your eyes. But again, just set the intention. Think of what you would like healed. If it's just an overall healing, if you don't have anything wrong with you, it'll just be a balancing. But it's all good, it's all positive, and it's coming whether you like it or not.
Okay, here we go.